For those who are new students entering into their first years at a university setting, it can be a very intimidating environment. Often they are told that all of scholarship, all historians, all academics accept certain positions and certain ideas, and that if you don't accept those ideas and those positions, that you're committing intellectual suicide, so to speak. That if you want to keep believing the Bible, that's fine. You can do it for religious reasons, but you certainly can't do it for historical reasons. And one of the things that Ehrman has done is that he has shaped the debate very much in this fashion. He has told his students and his readers in his books that everything he's telling them is simply what everyone in the academic world agrees upon. In fact, in his most recent book, Jesus Interrupted, Ehrman goes out of his way in the early chapters to say that all the things I'm telling you in this book are simply the things that all seminaries teach, and that the vast majority of people coming out of seminary learn. That is a very intimidating thing to hear, and it's understandable why students wouldn't want to swim against the tide of all of the academic world. The problem again, though, is that that type of presentation leaves out so many facts that need to be mentioned. Let me just mention a number of these that are important to grasp. One is the idea that all seminaries teach what Dr. Ehrman and others say is, again, misleading. One way to show this is to notice the latest statistics about the largest seminaries in the United States. People don't realize this, but the top 10 accredited seminaries in the United States of America are all evangelical schools. Now we're talking about thousands of students, hundreds and hundreds of professors represented by these institutions. These are accredited institutions, the 10 largest seminaries in the United States. Who are these mysterious professors and all these thousands of students at these institutions who Ehrman ignores entirely in his presentations as not worth bringing up in terms of the sweep of modern academia? What that tells you that when Ehrman talks about the academy or modern scholarship, he just means those who he agrees with. But simply saying that all those who I agree with out there agree with me is more of a circular argument than it is anything else. It doesn't tell you much about really the state of things. The other thing to keep in mind about hearing claims towards everybody believes this sort of thing is that really that is in some sense a form of intellectual bullying. What it is designed to do is to force your hand from the outset. Before you see any evidence, before you see any historical facts, making claims that all of scholarship believes what I'm getting ready to tell you, that type of perspective is designed to force people to make a decision before they even hear any of the evidence. What that means is that at the core, claims like that are ultimately ahistorical. We don't believe things simply because most scholars believe them. We believe things based on the historical veracity of them and whether they have historical evidence behind them. So, if you're a new student starting out with, in your university career, keep in mind that simply saying that all scholars believe something isn't a reason to believe it. One final thing to note, particularly with Dr. Ehrman in this regard, is that the claim that all scholars believe what I'm telling you simply falls short when you realize many of Ehrman's own views are out of sync with modern scholarship. I'll give you several examples of this. Ehrman's approach to textual criticism, arguing that we can't know what the original writers of the New Testament said and that there's so many variations that the New Testament's integrity is in doubt. That is foreign to the very history of the practice of New Testament textual criticism. That is not the way the discipline has been normally practiced through the years. That is not even the dominant view. But Ehrman wants to present his hyper-skeptical view as the mainstream, when it is in fact not the mainstream. Another example of this, Ehrman's understanding of who Jesus is as an apocalyptic prophet. He takes Albert Schweitzer's view about the historical Jesus and says that in fact Schweitzer was correct. Jesus was an apocalyptic prophet who thought the world would end in his own lifetime. Well, that's fine to have that view, but Ehrman presents that as the dominant academic view, when in fact Schweitzer's views have been roundly rejected by modern scholars, and most have moved on to other views long since then. I'll give you a third example. Ehrman often uses an argument against miracles that is often brought up. Ehrman will say that miracles can never be affirmed by an historian because by definition, miracles are the least likely occurrence possible. And since they're the least likely occurrence possible, you can't say that they probably happened, because all historians can do is say what probably happened, and since miracles are the least likely event to have taken place, no historian can ever affirm that miracles happened. And you may hear that argument and think that sounds persuasive. The problem with that argument is it's simply David Hume's argument against miracles from the 18th century. Hume's argument against miracles has been largely and roundly rejected by modern scholars and modern philosophy. Now, whether Ehrman knows this or not, I don't know, but the point is that he's using yet another argument that the mainstream academy has rejected many years prior to this. So claims that, in fact, we should believe things because the modern academy believes them simply doesn't pan out when Ehrman himself goes against the modern academy time and time again.